You know, yesterday I was sitting there and I was working on, actually it's Saturday, and I was working on some information. Granted, I admit I'm a news junkie. I don't expect everybody to be. But I do expect you when the news is out there and it's available for you to educate yourself about it, that you're going to do something about it. And the one thing that kept running through my mind over and over and over and over and over again as I read and educated myself and studied to show myself approved was that there doesn't seem to be any leadership left in this nation that is willing to stand up and do what's right. So I penned this piece and I threw it up there, and it was prompted by a guy who wrote me an article, or wrote me a note, and he's from England. And I got to tell you, it just shook me to my core when I read what he had to say. This fella had written me this piece, and he didn't write it as a piece. He wrote it. I'm going to find it for you right now. But he wrote this statement there where he lives in England, and he is basically, in England there are no alternatives to everyone is silent. The press has been completely bought off, and so forth and so on. I can't even find it for you, but I can read you this piece. I started it in response to him, and he said, why is it that here in England, no one talks about these things? The press hides it. Our ministers are quiet about it. And it prompted me to write this. I wonder where our wise, enlightened elders are hiding, or if they even exist at all. Where are all our men of wisdom and integrity, men of grit and determination for justice? Where are our men of courage? I ask myself if the entire planet and all men of virtue have fallen. Is our nation so self-centered and so selfish as to be lured into the self-treason of short-term gain, immediate gratification, and corruption? I find it eternally frustrating, to the point where sometimes I just simply want to fade away. For where shall we look for strength and guidance and encouragement? Where are our heroes? Even now, those with power and reach, influence, and ability to make a difference are silent when and where it really counts. They play at a kabuki theater of sorts, feigning outrage while deflating their own arguments, values, ethics, and virtue, because they have capitulated to darkness. It would seem that they have sold their very souls, compromised and marginalized themselves willingly, purposely, under pressure and coercion. So who shall we rally behind? Who is worthy of our trust, our effort, our support, our loyalty, even unto our very blood? The words of Patrick Henry, our brother in time and space, are always in the forefront of my mind, resounding throughout all the world. They echo down through the ages in a clarion call, a call to arms, a rousing plea for courage in the face of our own terror. It is in vain to extenuate the matter. Gentlemen may cry, peace, peace, but there is no peace. The war is actually begun. The next gale that sweeps from the north will bring to our ears the clash of resounding arms. My God, our brethren are already in the field. Why stand we here idle? What is it that gentlemen wish? What would they have? Is life so dear or peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take. But as for me, give me liberty or give me death. Who among us shall heed the call? What manner of peace is worth your very soul? All that you possess, all that you dream, all that you hold dear. Would we sit paralyzed by our fear? Do we surrender before the battle is joined? With or without men of leadership and courage, I fear for the future of not only my nation, but the world. America as a nation has long been the light and the promise of liberty, freedom, and self-governance to oppressed peoples the world over. We have been an example and the living vision of mankind's desire to independently direct its own destiny. We've exemplified a concrete living illustration, one that weary, downtrodden peoples of the world have looked upon, longing to become for so long. We've renewed their faith that they too can succeed in such an endeavor of greatness, ingenuity, creativity, and the promises of liberty and freedom, both now and handed down to future generations. They saw, embodied in us, a promise of something greater, something better that could be realized. Like all peoples, they desire the principles of individual rights, natural rights that supersede and rule governments, rights of self-determination, self-improvement, self-rule, independent thought, and motivation. And they have fought on, taking strength from our example, refusing to fall prey and victim to a Machiavellian ruling elite, indeed unto tyranny itself. But all that has changed, and in my lifetime. Our nation is soft, apathetic, satisfied to no longer seek our highest and our best. We've become content being told what to do, what to think, to take direction, and follow it unerringly, even unto our own demise. And if that light should go out, if we should falter, if we should fail at our own defense, if the pillars of freedom should no longer hold up the roof of liberty itself by our example, then hope itself will be extinguished and fall. The illustration and the vision the rest of the world has always looked upon will crumble into utter decadence and corruption. And this indeed will be a dark planet for a very, very long time. So the question remains, where do you stand? Will you arise to defend and preserve our home, our promise, our history, our nation? Will you look fear in the face and throw yourself into the fray with abandon? For if you would shirk your duty, if you would hide from confrontation, if you would meekly surrender, knowing your demise will result in mere moments, well then, I have only to offer you the words of Samuel Adams. If you love wealth better than liberty, the tranquility of servitude more than the animated contest of freedom, then go from us in peace. We ask not your counsel, nor your arms. Crouch down then and lick the hands which feed you. And may your chains sit lightly upon you, and may posterity forget that you were our countrymen. America, it is time to arise and be counted, to be fearless, to be fierce, to be courageous in the face of our own fears. We must speak out. We must take action. We must discuss it and speak about it everywhere we go, even when our voice shakes. Will you stand? Will you stand with your children and your family, with your community? Will you stand to protect and defend this nation that has given you all the benefits that you have enjoyed all of your life? Will you rob and steal that opportunity from your own very children? Will you betray yourself? We're out of time. The mounting examples are everywhere around you. The bodies lay everywhere. Time is short. And I don't know about you, but I can say that I don't want to live in a world where my every action is dictated, where I'm monitored, where I'm surveilled, where I'm treated as if I'm just a profile, where I'm manipulated and betrayed, where the only time that I matter is when it's time for me to cast a vote. And the rest of the time I'm treated like livestock to be bought and sold and traded. I don't want to live in a world of slavery. The battle is already actually begun. Patrick Henry that statement could be made today. It is in vain to extenuate the matter. Why are we sitting here talking about it? They cry peace, peace, but there's no peace. The war is on. The gale that sweeps from the north will bring to our ears the clash of resounding arms. My God, our brethren are already in the field. And why stand we here idle? What is it that gentlemen wish? What would they have? Is your life so dear and your peace so sweet that you would purchase it at the price of chains and slavery? What prohibits you from standing up and taking action? What prohibits you? What fear is it of loss or retribution that forces you to sit there knowing the end result will be even worse, and you cower in fear? What is it that you love? What is it that you love so deeply, so desperately, that you are willing to trade it all for this short-term, whatever that is? Is it your wealth? You're willing to trade your liberty for that? For a job, for the security of what? Your Social Security check that's not even guaranteed? You're willing to trade your liberty because you're afraid that you'll lose your job or your car or your home? Oh, it's not so bad, you say. We can get used to it. If you're willing to accept that, then you are lost to us. If the tranquility of servitude is more appealing to you than the animated contest of freedom, then go and leave us in peace. We don't want your counsel. We don't want your help. We don't even want your arms and your assistance. Crouch down and lick the hands that feed you. And when you awaken to the terrible truth, may your chains sit lightly upon you, and may posterity forget that you were ever our countrymen. I have a prayer of hope and faith. I trust the promise of my Maker, my Creator. I believe in the promise of liberty and freedom. It's given to me by someone far higher. And I will stand even unto my death. You've been listening to America's Voice Now. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about this issue of Bloomberg. How Bloomberg News has abdicated all responsibility to truth to protect their position in China, our sworn enemy. Our enemies have surrounded us on all sides. And instead of cowering in fear, it's time for us to say, we can attack in any direction. That's the good news. We may not survive it, but I'd rather attack than lay here and wait to be slaughtered.